They erased me from the family, so I saved everything they tried to destroy. The moment I heard my name through the kitchen door, I stopped breathing. My father was speaking, and what he said made my entire world feel like a carefully constructed lie. Chloe gets the house, she gets the company, she gets the investments. There was a short pause. Then my father said the sentence that would haunt me for the rest of my life. Everly gets nothing. She was never really ours anyway. My mother's laughter followed, then came the sound of champagne glasses touching. I stood there in the darkness, completely frozen. 27 years. 27 years of birthdays, Christmas mornings, family vacations, photographs, arguments, hugs, and pretending that I belonged. And that night, while they celebrated my sister's future, I discovered they had already erased mine. My name is Everly Hartwell, and that was the night I learned my family had been lying to me for almost my entire life. I quietly walked away from the kitchen. I didn't confront them. Not yet, because something inside me told me there was more to this than an inheritance. And I was right. At midnight, when the house finally became silent, I entered my father's study. The old grandfather clock struck 12 as I opened the drawer beneath his desk. My father kept everything important in there. Contracts, bank statements, property documents, company records. I started going through them. And almost immediately, I noticed something strange. Every major asset had been transferred to one name: Chloe Hartwell. The house, the investments, the construction company, everything. But then I saw something that made my hands shake. Hartwell Construction was worth nearly $16 million. And I knew exactly why. 5 years of my life were inside that company. I had helped transform it from a struggling regional contractor worth around $2 million into a business worth almost 8 times that amount. I had worked weekends. I had slept in my office. I had fixed financial problems nobody else even knew existed. And now, according to those documents, I had apparently done none of it. My sister owned everything. I owned nothing. Then I found a thin folder hidden behind the financial records. It was marked with one word: confidential. I opened it, and suddenly the room seemed to disappear around me. Inside was my adoption certificate. My name, Everly Hartwell, adopted at 3 years old. I stared at the date for what felt like an eternity. 24 years of memories suddenly had a question hanging over them. Why had nobody told me? Why had they allowed me to believe I was their biological daughter? And most importantly, why were they so desperate to hide it? I photographed every document with my phone, but the adoption papers weren't the worst thing I found. Behind them were financial statements. Large amounts of money were being transferred out of Hartwell Construction. Millions of dollars, foreign accounts, companies I'd never heard of. As someone trained in financial analysis, I knew exactly what I was looking at. Someone was slowly draining the company, and whoever was doing it had been extremely careful. Then my phone vibrated, a message from Chloe. "Where are you? Your car is still here." At 2 a.m, she was watching me. I replied that I couldn't sleep. I already knew what she'd tell our parents. Everly's anxious again. Everly is unstable. Everly can't handle pressure. They had spent years creating a version of me that nobody could trust. But they had made one enormous mistake. They had underestimated me. 6 weeks earlier, my father had undergone back surgery. During his recovery, he had signed a power of attorney over to me, and nobody had revoked it. Nobody remembered. Nobody thought it mattered. But now it mattered more than anything. The next morning, I sat at the breakfast table while my mother discussed Chloe's wedding. My father calmly read the newspaper. They behaved as though nothing had happened. My mother looked at me. "You look exhausted, Everly. Maybe you should talk to someone about these sleepless nights." I smiled. "I'll be fine." But mentally, I was already somewhere else. I was reconstructing every transaction, every account, every suspicious payment, every name,